and gentlemen. Thanks for coming through. Welcome to the emergency OTP live broadcast today. A little bit different. Yeah, we can take a
I think
breath.
we're ready. I think we're ready.
We can take a breath.
Need a little, yeah.
Man,
What the fuck, man? What the fuck just happened?
yo,
Um,
yeah, that is what we will discuss today. Is what the fuck happened last night at Coachella. Um, y'all know why we're here. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. Frank Ocean, Frank Ocean, man. He came out and he did his performance last night. And I will say, actually, I won't say it. I'll have our soundboard do the talking for this. I think really the only thing that could capture how I feel about this performance is this sound right here.
It was one of the worst performances I've seen in my life. I couldn't sleep last night because I felt this shit coming because we were walking around like we're the shit.
couldn't have said it better myself, man.
I had to let that
Couldn't
out.
have said it better myself.
I had to let that out.
He screamed that for you. He
Yeah.
screamed that for you.
Yeah.
Look,
yeah.
man, that was one of the. I think you said it best on Twitter, man. What a fucking shit show.
No.
What an absolute shit show,
Yeah.
man. That might have been the worst Coachella headlining performance in recent memory. I don't know. I don't really know. I haven't really kept track of Coachella since like I've only started keeping track of Coachella since like 2016, but
Yeah.
possibly ever. Maybe one of the top five worst ever. Like just such a complete mess, top to bottom. That and we got a lot to get to, man. So I don't want to. Like we said, we're not gonna sugarcoat it. We're not gonna beat around the bush here. Let's just dive right in, man.
Yeah.
Dive right in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
starting off yesterday started off, man. We had some good vibes. We obviously did the our thoughts
Yeah.
OTP versus with the weekend Bruno Mars, which is really great. It was on playback again, but I'm currently editing a little highlight reel of the matchup that will upload to YouTube. Fingers crossed. And yeah, I think that set us off on a good foot. We're like, you know what, we even said like yesterday, like at the very end, we were like, you know what, this it's gonna be a good night. Allegedly, Frank will be performing tonight. And we're just gonna enjoy the night. We're gonna have a good time. And then literally like maybe 15, 20 minutes after we called it a wrap, you texted me with some very concerning news. And it was that apparently Frank would not be live streaming his performance on YouTube,
Yeah.
which was where literally every single other performance had been showing. Like you could cut around to all the different stages, like the Metro Boomin the weekend performance that I was watching Friday night was really great, really well done. But no, apparently they did was just during that time slot is just replay a different artist, right? Jai
Yeah.
Paul.
Well, what happened with the
Yeah.
Jai Paul? Okay, so yeah, first off, the whole pulling the live stream thing, that was probably our
Hmm.
first red flag of the day. It was YouTube wasn't exactly being very clear about what was going to happen. The Coachella schedule kept changing. It was they took off Bjork and Frank Ocean from the Coachella like stage schedule, and everyone's like, "Yo, what the fuck? Like, what do you mean it's not going to be live streamed? Like, is it even happening?" And then we're getting a lot of mixed messages from Coachella and YouTube. Coachella's been posting, like they posted pictures of people with like Frank Ocean tattoos and like Metara Coachella signs, just being like hyping everybody up. Mind you, they've been hyping up the fact that Frank Ocean was supposed to be like the Frank Ocean performance specifically was going to be live streamed for weeks before this weekend, for
Hmm.
several weeks. And YouTube has also been a part of that marketing campaign. And YouTube even made a tweet saying like something along the lines of like Frank Ocean live, like in front of you're about to see Frank Ocean live on your screen tonight, something like that, hyping it up.
Hmm.
Once
Hmm.
people realized that the schedule changed, they also went back to that tweet that YouTube made, and YouTube deleted that tweet, and so it wasn't looking good. Everyone's like, everything's subject to change. You never know. Like, we're gonna like keep our hopes up, and then that's when YouTube made the announcement saying that Frank Ocean's set will not be streamed. This was about 3
He
hours.
personally requested it.
Yes. We've come to find out later that he personally requested that he was requested that the live stream be pulled. The chat. I'm divorcing Frank Ocean. Yes, we're done. Let me get to it, y'all. There's a lot to unpack from this night. Okay. But yeah, so Frank Ocean requested to pull the live stream. This was about 3 hours before the performance. So that was, I think, the definitive factor that it wasn't some sort of technical issue. It was Frank wanted to pull it because Jai Paul the night before, his set was late and they were having issues, and they had an announcement right before he went on saying that, okay, we're not going to live stream it, but you can watch the replay the following day or the next morning, whatever. But this was 3 hours before. So clearly, it was Frank. So that kind of sucked. Everyone's kind of scrambling to figure out how we're going to actually watch this thing. So I guess cut to 10 o'clock PST when Frank's supposed to go on. And I don't know about you. Oh, I know you and I were both searching for a live stream that someone in the crowd was streaming on TikTok, on Twitch, on Instagram. So shout out to those people.
Shout out to Morgan Doesn't Care.
Yes,
shout out to you for streaming damn near the whole fucking concert,
the whole thing
in perfect widescreen, did everything. Yeah.
Shout out to you. Shout out to the other guy, Alejandro, whatever. Bro really had his phone up for 3+ hours, just holding it for us to see. It was kind of doo-doo quality sometimes. The audio was crazy, but I had to see what was going on. So yeah, shout out Morgan.
By any means necessary.
Yeah. Shout out to my queen Morgan for holding it down for 100,000 people, literally. Like Drake showed up in that live stream. Lord was in the live stream. Other celebrities were there trying to see what Frank was gonna do. But I hop on the live stream and Frank doesn't come out till about 11 o'clock. He's an hour late, maybe a little over an hour late. And this is a headliner, y'all. This is not I don't know. There weren't any, from what I know, there were not any other acts that were this late. Of course, there were acts that were inevitably going to be late just because of technical shit. But over an hour for the headliner, the final act of the entire weekend. Made everyone wait. He did eventually come on. Well, actually, what we saw were the people. The people dressed. It was kind of like Donda. It was definitely given Donda listening party. People in these weird jumpsuits and masks, and they were just kind of walking around in a circle. And there's a video feed of them just walking for 25 minutes. Just these poor people just circling.
Getting their steps in.
Yeah, just I don't know what it was. I was like, okay, kind of cool, kind of ominous. Definitely giving Donda vibes. Yeah. Bro think he's yay. Exactly. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And then first song comes on, Novocaine, fire. I was like, okay, this is hype. First track he comes out with makes sense. Novocaine. There's a lyric about Coachella, in the song. Met her at Coachella, So I'm like, that's fire.
Yeah.
And the set starts out great. We get Novocaine. He goes into some of the other hits. But then very, very early on, though, we get the first sign of sort of a lack of cohesion or communication when it comes to when he performed, I think, Bad Religion. Man, hold on. I need to backtrack for 1 second. So the stage. Oh my God, sorry. There's so much to unpack about this crazy ass
performance. Take your time.
Yeah. So the stage itself, though, pretty much reminiscent of what he did in 2017 with the FYF Fest and stuff like that. It's kind of he put the studio on the stage. Pretty sick. But what I've heard from people who were there was the way that it was situated and the way that he was situated on stage. You couldn't even see him. Even when he opened, maybe a couple people in the front row, if they peeked through, could kind of see him. But no, he was hiding his face a lot, even when the camera was on him.
Mhm.
He was hoodie
Wearing
up.
his hoodie,
He was
yeah.
kind of like singing like this with the microphone here and his hand kind of up.
Mhm.
Or there would be times where he straight up was just facing away and it was the back of his head. Like he was not trying to be seen at all. And then when we get to the second performance which was Bad Religion, they had a false start. You know, the band started, and then you see Frank look at the camera or like turn back and go like this, like cut it, and he gets up, walks out, and I was like, yo, what was that? Like, okay. And then, you know, he comes back in and they restart the song. I've heard some people say that was straight up just out of frustration. Like he was pissed off at the band for fucking up the song or something like that. Or just, it was just weird. You know, his energy was off. He was just kind of doing weird things, but he comes back. He does Bad Religion. And, you know, the thing is though, like there were definitely some highlights. Like Bad Religion was amazing. Like White Ferrari, Solo, those interpretations were super cool. Like very different. Yeah. Kind of brought a whole new
A little more
life to them.
upbeat, more techno.
Yeah.
Different vibe.
Yeah, totally different vibe. He kind of had interesting interludes going on. That kind of gave us a peek into what I thought was like a different world sonically that he was venturing into. So like in that regard, like again, White Ferrari, Solo, like super cool. Siegfried. He also, like, that was the first time he ever performed White Ferrari, like ever live. So very historic. But yeah, so it seemed like okay, they kind of got their shit together. There's a little bit more cohesion. It was a little awkward, you know, like the random moments of silence between each song.
Yeah.
Was
the stream that I was watching, at one point he's performing, and then all of a sudden he just leaves the stage, and people literally like gasp like because it's like, oh shit, like the performance could be over. Knowing Frank, you never know when he could just be like, you know what, I'm done performing, we're good. And he's kind of the only performer where you could legitimately be like, oh shit, he could very well just be like, all right, I'm done. Like we're good.
Well,
you know?
Yeah.
It should have been its own little thing, but
yeah,
we, you know, it doesn't stop there. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean, so yeah, it just felt really off. Like he would stop songs short too. Bad Religion, he just cut short. Or I mean, it was cool that he had a different, like, it was like a different verse or like a different pre-chorus. So he kind of changed shit up there. But he would stop a song and then he would start another one, and then it would really be like actually an interlude into a different song. So it was hard to keep track, and it felt like he was deliberately stunting the audience from getting a full, like being able to like sing along and like know the songs that they're getting and know the songs that he's performing next. So it was just like I said, it was all over the place. Super confusing. And then he finally, like, he kind of addresses the crowd, and we have that video of him. I mean, I wonder if I can pull it up, but it's that video of him talking straight to the crowd about why he's there, about potentially a new album, like stuff like that. Let me pull up the clip.
But yeah, also worst case scenario, we could just read out the quote.
Yeah, I think I got it. Coachella.
Yeah. And it's important to note that, again, like when he was actually performing, it was actually really cool. And kind of like, oh shit, like this is the moment we've been waiting, you know, however umpteenth years, 7 years for, is him coming back and performing some of these records. I don't know if you wanted to get to it after this, but he then goes on to perform Nights. Nights.
That's way after.
Okay, that's okay. I got it. My bad. You got the sequence all.
No, yeah, I got the play-by-play, bro. Okay, so here's what he said. This might be again like doo-doo quality, but this is what he said.
I want to talk about why I'm here, because it's not because of a new album. It's because, not that there's not a new album. It's like. But there's not right now. No, it's not right now.
Not right now. It'll be in about 20 years.
You know, this last couple years, my life changed so much. And hold on.
Shushes the crowd.
Check me out. So
Yeah.
I want to just, my brother and I, we came to this festival a lot. And I feel like I was dragged out here half the time because I hated the dust out here. I always left with a respiratory infection or whatever. So I would like avoid coming. I would always end up here. And one of my fondest memories was watching Ray Strummer, I don't know what that stage is called, but watching Ray Strummer with my brother and Travis. I don't know if Travis Taco is here, but we were just dancing in that tent to their music. And I know he would have been so excited to be here with all of us, and I want to say thank you for the support and the ears and the love over all this time. And I'm gonna get back to these songs.
Back to the songs.
Yeah. So I thought that was really nice. Just the fact that he's there at all is just because, because of his brother, and I also want to acknowledge that as well. This man is still definitely is grieving the loss of his brother. If y'all don't know, Ryan, his little brother, was killed in a car accident. I want to say 2 years ago, like 2020,
like mid lockdown, like while we were really deep in.
Yeah. And 2020, the pandemic definitely postponed any sort of music dropping by Frank, and then the loss of his brother, he's not, I get it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really sweet of him to come and to make this performance a tribute to his brother, and they also would come to Coachella all the time and kind of, living that experience again with this big comeback. But it was everything after that really things got really fucking weird, really strange, which is very upsetting because it was just after this very heartfelt note about his brother, and so after that he sang I think he started to sing Chanel, and at least I thought he was singing it, but then it kind of turned it into this remix. It was like solo into Chanel, and then it was like they're both kind of remixed in different ways to where it was hard to kind of sing along to it, and it wasn't the original way, and so then all of a sudden Chanel gets turned into this crazy like Jersey mix, like house techno vibe that this DJ takes over, DJ Crystal or something like that, and all of a sudden there's a full-on rave in the middle of the Frank Ocean set. Mind you, this is my favorite part. I'm gonna be honest, this was the best part. The security guard twerking, like that was honestly my favorite thing. I need to find that clip too, but bro, it was just
at least someone was having a good time.
Yeah.
So at one point people were having a good time.
Yeah, no, he was turning me up. He was just like, shaking his ass and like just like going crazy, like for like a long. It was like 8 minutes. Like it was a whole set. And it was pretty cool. They kind of mixed in like No Church in the Wild. They mixed in Solo, whatever, like all these different Chanel. All these songs, and it was cool. I mean, it was hard for me to like think it was that cool because I was watching on the phone, and the bass was going dumb, bro. It was just like
bananas.
Like it was just bass boosted ear rape. So
yeah,
it was. I was just laughing. I was like, what the fuck? It was like a meme. Yeah, it was very unserious. And then you cut to like the security guard twerking, and I'm like, okay, what the fuck's going on? So you don't see Frank for like 5-8 minutes during this set, like while that's happening. And in fact, there's actually a clip of him. I might have to go on the TikTok of him literally like sitting down, like he's not even like while that's happening, he's just sitting down in the back.
Just chilling.
I cannot
during his
Yeah,
believe
he
this
Coachella
was your
headlining
question.
performance.
Yeah, I think I have it. But it's just like, it was just weird, you know? I'm like, why is he literally... Here he is, here it is, here it is. This is... The caption's fucked up. I mean, not really. But yeah. This is what y'all waited 7 years for. Oh, come on, you want to play? Let me refresh this. There you go. So there he is. He's
Just
literally just sitting
Fitting
down,
crisscross applesauce,
just sitting
hands
there,
in his lap.
off stage. He did not want to be seen at all, at all, at all. So that was kind of strange. But then, you know, it goes into like, I think after that he kind of comes back up and he's like, you know, like that I was really into like the DJs, like techno scene. I wanted to bring some of that to this performance. I'm like, okay, cool. Then he goes into a beautiful, beautiful rendition of Godspeed, which was amazing. That alone, I was like, okay, we're back. Like, okay, you know, he's singing. I really fuck with that. And then they kind of like do a little bit of an interlude. And then all of a sudden this kid comes on. And I was really confused by that when it cuts to the kid singing, and it was like Frank's voice, but he was singing this ballad. Frank also did a couple like unreleased songs that are all pretty mellow, nothing too groundbreaking, except for maybe one that I'll mention in a second. But this kid comes on, does this really somber meditative ballad on the piano. I thought it was like a deep fake I was watching, because I was like, is this really Frank? Like as a child, like who is this kid? Whatever. And then he kind of finishes the song. Frank comes out and he's like, yo, this was, what's his name? Like Josiah or something, or Joshua.
Yeah.
Everyone give it up for him. And we're like, okay, like good job, kid.
Doesn't he introduce him as like, hey everyone, this is my inner child?
Yeah. I was like, okay,
Right.
that's kind of cool. Like, what does that got to do with anything?
Kind of character piece.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean,
yeah.
the kid did a good job. I think it was actually his voice. But yeah, so then after the kid performed, he came back on. And I think that's when he just started playing songs. Like, not even, he just stopped singing after that, actually, until the very, very end. But oh no, sorry, it was one more before he started just playing random songs off like his fucking phone or something. It was he did this crazy death metal cover out of nowhere, which was kind of hard. I was like, yo, this is wild. Like this, like it's given like SZA's like break into that like camp rock Disney Channel.
Yeah, F2F.
F2F, you know. So I was like, okay, I'm here for it. Okay, like death metal Frank, like something different, like completely different. For some reason it actually sounded really good. Like he was screaming in the mic. I was like, yo, Frank going crazy on this. Like with the drummer was going wild. But then after that, it kind of just like went way down because he played Nights off like the studio version, and he stopped singing.
Yeah.
For the rest of the show. He was up there just like dancing to the camera, flexing his grills, flexing his watch. The beat switch hit, and he's like, yeah, and then they played another track after that. And at this point, it was really fucking sad because on the live stream I was watching, I had to cut to another guy's. I had to leave Morgan's for a second because it glitched out or something. But I was cutting to this other guy's TikTok live stream, and I could see people leaving, like mass crowds.
Yeah.
Walking out, like mass walkout of Frank Ocean set. Like Frank Ocean, like this dude, 7 years, we've been waiting for him to perform, to show his face, and people are leaving. There's so much space in front of this guy. Like they were leaving during Nights. I was like, yo, this is fucked up. Like I really can't believe like he's losing the crowd like this. And then he played another song. I don't even know. Maybe it was like, I think it was Nikes. He played Nikes again, studio version, just dancing on stage. I'm like, bro, I do this. This is what I look like in my room, bro. Like, why would I pay thousands of dollars to see you do it on the stage? And then after that, he sat back down, and gave a beautiful cover, a beautiful performance of the At Your Best cover he did from Endless. That was his best vocals of the night for me. I mean, oh my God. His voice, it's just, when he was singing, it was soaring, man. Like, you could hear it even through the phone. Like, God damn, his voice was good. But then he finishes that song, immediately just gets up, walks off stage, doesn't say anything. Second goes by, he gets on the mic, he says, hey, they're saying it's curfew. That's the end of the show. Thank you. Good night. And that was it. And everybody around,
that was it.
Yeah, and everybody around the live stream was like, what? Like, that's it? No. Like, people were staying to be like, oh, maybe this is a test. Maybe he wants to see who's loyal. Like, I'm not giving up my spot. Yeah. Like, oh, this is just, he's just trolling. But nah, he did not leave. He did not come back on after that. And that was the whole set. Yeah, so that was pretty much the play-by-play of the performance.
Yeah.
You take over for a second. Yeah,
recapping that. No. Thank you for recapping that. I definitely, I think we all needed that little play-by-play for sure. Just very, very, a lot of mixed emotions. I remember we were talking last night. We were just like, yo, what the just happened? Yeah. And there was a part of me that was very much like, okay, like there were moments in there that I felt like, yeah, this was it. This is the iconic, return or whatever. All the imperfections included. Even him kind of being a little socially awkward, but then coming in to sing like some of the most incredible ballads you've heard. And one moment I thought that was really, or one thing that he kept doing that I thought was really kind of a little bit sad was when he would be talking and then he'd be like, all right, back to the songs, because like I'm sure a part of him knows like that's what y'all are here for. You guys are not here to hear me talk and give me this reasoning, but which that in that sense I'm like, okay, that I feel for him there, because I'm sure he would love to just kind of pour his heart out a little bit, but then you got to keep in mind all the bullshit that did happen, and I don't know if you want to get into that right now, but this dude shows up 40 minutes late, and sure enough, like that ends up fucking up the whole thing because he's unable to perform the second half of the set, and as much as you want to say like that's what Frank gets for showing up late, for being unprofessional. Like you want to be a little bit smug about it, like I get it, but also like that sucks for the fans that keep in mind like some of them just showed up specifically for Frank.
Majority of those people were there for Frank, and he didn't even give him a proper goodbye, didn't even come out, acknowledge the crowd. It was a complete mess. It was so disorganized. It's like what it looks like when I'm like not prepared to do a presentation. Like this is what it looks like. I'm just dancing around, bullshitting for the second half, and then I'm like, all right, though, that's it. Like that's the end. And so no, man, when he said that, I literally I was like, oh, what? Like I was like, did I just witness? Like, was that it? Like that was really it. That's what we waited for. That's what he brought to us. So. The crazy ass investigators that Frank Ocean fans are on the subreddit have gone deep into what happened that night and what was supposed to happen, because the show that we saw was not what was supposed to happen. And I'm sure some of y'all have seen the statement. I'll cut to it.
Swoosh over.
Yeah, let me here. You know what? I'm gonna take it like this so I can zoom in. 1 second. There we go. Okay. So this person saying they've been speaking to sources about exactly what transpired and how things went so far downhill Sunday for Frank Ocean and Coachella. So here you go. So people were talking about the stage in the chat. I see. The stage production was supposed to, and it did, contain an ice rink that was constructed and ready to go. I was reading rumors about some sort of ice rink or ice skating performance like earlier in the day. So confirmed by a different source. So this is definitely true. But they had a whole, like, if you look at, there's an aerial view shot of like the stage and then like this really long part of the stage that stretches out and then it has a circle at the end. Kind of like the Dawn FM tour where he had like that big stretch that goes through like the middle of the crowd.
A little runway.
Yeah, that was obviously never used once during the performance. So Frank decided that last minute he no longer wanted any of that. No longer wanted any of the ice skating or the ice rink or anything like that. And which is kind of crazy because Coachella actually pulled it off. Like they made an ice rink in the desert, like in April, you know, like and then all of a sudden last minute he's like, nah, I'm not feeling it. Scrapped that. Also scrapped all of the choreography that the ice skaters learned. They were supposed to do a whole choreographic show. In the middle of it, they're like, fuck it, you guys are actually just going to walk around in a circle for 20 minutes instead of your actual choreography. So that definitely sucks. Like it says here, they've been practicing for weeks. They were supposed to be part of the skating. They were supposed to be skating as part of the production. Coachella had to deconstruct the approved stage that had been planned and signed off on for months in advance. They had to melt the entire ice rink and then set it up how Frank decided today with no warning, which is what you end up seeing, and that's why he was delayed for about an hour, because they were defrosting an ice rink for the whole day. This all happened when doors had already opened for Sunday and people were securing their spots to see him. If the last minute changes weren't made, he wouldn't have performed at all, leaving the festival without a closing headliner. So he basically gave Coachella like an ultimatum. They're like, yo, if you don't scrap that whole thing and get rid of the ice rink, I'm not performing. So so putting my tinfoil hat on here, I feel like he did that just to see if he could like get out of performing, like straight up. Like if he was like, I'm gonna give them an impossible task, which is to deconstruct everything they just set up that has been signed off for months, defrost an entire ice rink in time for me to perform. And he's like I can just that's never gonna happen. And then they did it, and they're like, okay, now go perform. And he's like, oh shit, I thought I was gonna get away with it.
Wait, so wait, to what end? To what end does he? Do you think? Again, this is all speculation. Do you think he didn't want to perform?
Well, let me keep going.
Oh shit.
Frank also personally pulled the plug at the last second on the live stream, which according to this source, left a very sour taste in many inside Coachella's mouths, including the staff. Ultimately, and I quote, "It just didn't seem like he wanted to be there, but was obligated to be. Including him, fell apart last minute. Don't expect to see any coverage from the festival about the set, something that is unprecedented in the history of Coachella. The relationship is not in a good place right now." So yeah, he did not want to be there.
Yeah.
He straight up did not want to perform. He was contractually he had to. So I think he tried to pull out every single stop for him to be like, okay, like, how about y'all pull the ice rink last minute? Okay, I'm gonna show up like an hour late. Okay, I'm gonna have like a DJ set. You know, I'm not gonna perform. Okay, I maybe do like one song and then I'll just cut it short because of and blame it on curfew. You know, like he was really finding every excuse to not perform for us.
That I want to say a piece, but I just really would love to hear just we've gone over the whole event, but I would love to hear just like what you think, because in case you guys don't know, just some backstory. In case you guys are just tuning in for the first time, hello, I'm Cesco. That's Matt over there. This is Our Thoughts Live, and you know, Matt is very much a Frank Ocean fan. The second podcast ever on any streaming platform, you can go check out Spotify, go check out Apple Podcasts, is a podcast from Matt talking about, Frank Ocean is a modern day genius. You know, he kind of goes over something. Do you remember that?
Yes, bro. Okay, yeah. Like to make things clear, I'm a Frank Ocean fan. Okay, I'm a very jaded, very jaded Frank Ocean fan. So I guess to give some more context into why, what this really showed for me, this performance tonight, was actually revealing a behavior that Frank has had towards his audience and his fans for the past maybe 3 years. It's just finally on a public forum and has affected thousands of people. If you haven't seen any of our other videos about Frank Ocean, we made a video saying, "Is Frank Ocean a scammer?" is actually what we called it. If you want to plug that, but basically It was a video
Gotcha.
about Frank Ocean's merch page that has notoriously scammed its fans. Honestly, it continues to scam them, like to this day, where people would buy merch from his site, T-shirts, vinyls, posters, other items, and they would oversell them and not have enough to actually ship it out, or people would just never receive anything at all, or like months later after buying something and not hearing anything, they get a email saying, oh, actually we had to cancel your order, we didn't have enough in stock, and you're getting a refund. Other people have received nothing and still haven't gotten refunds. Other people have received confirmation emails of things being shipped that they purchased 2 years ago. Like, it's crazy. And I understand, Frank, he has his team, he has probably people over at theblonded.com, like whatever, shipping people, that's their thing. But like, bro, like, it's your face on the brand, it's your name on the brand. Like, you gotta at least like follow through, like with orders.
Some kind of accountability, to be held.
And then when Frank Ocean announced his jewelry line, Homer, that also really alienated pretty much all of his fan base. He is releasing 2, 3, 4 $1 million change, literally $1 million pieces of jewelry, which I don't know who these pieces are for, but it's not for his fans. And he was very explicit in saying, I'm very much interested in my jewelry collection right now. And so he did an interview with that as well that left a really bad taste in a lot of Frank Ocean fans' mouths, saying like, oh, the reason I want to start a jewelry brand is because like ever since I was a kid, I was really like interested in high-end shit and like luxury and like yachts and shit, and like now that I'm rich, like I can actually do that, basically what he said. And all his fans are like, okay, like, so no music, and you're making shit that we can't buy, and you're rubbing in our face that it's for the rich people. Like, just straight up, it's not for us. So already fans have been jaded for years. And so with this performance, I think this was really the nail in the coffin for a lot of people, saying like he really did not give a fuck about performing. He didn't care about how much money people spent, how long you waited to see him. He was not ready. He did not want to be there. And I understand, the man is grieving. He doesn't owe us anything, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, these are people's money, time, and lives that you're fucking with. Thousands of them, hundreds of thousands of them. And the company that you've contractually been signed to perform for. All of that out the window. And it's just really a shame because he's so I feel like he has no remorse for like any of this. He's always kind of had this chip on his shoulder that was kind of his rise to fame, was that, oh, I'm gonna do this shit my way, like I'm just gonna fuck the establishment.
The main word I've used to kind of describe a lot of Frank Ocean is like very like subversive. Like he's always trying to figure out, how can I kind of destroy any expectation you have of me. Oh, you think I'm going to be, I'm going to play by your game and be a contract player and give you an out. Well, I'm just going to drop this endless thing real quick, which is, still a great body of work. And then I'm going to drop my magnum opus, independent.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Sure, it's a cool little like, I've heard people describe it as like, the greatest finesse we've seen. But also there's like a dark side to that kind of thinking, which is what we see with Homer, which is what we see with this, is like, he just, and to me that just screams like, and it's kind of funny because his music is very much screams this as well, for better, is like, he thinks he's like the most important person in this world.
Right.
But in reality, like, as much as we want to value ourselves, we also got to put our other people first. And that involves, if you sign a contract to perform, you got to put together some sort of performance, and respect people's time, at least a little bit. Again, like I get like the rock star appeal of like showing up late, doing all that stuff, all the mysterious shit, that's my main key word for Frank, is like, he is mysterious shit personified. But at what point are you just unprofessional? And at what point are you just harming people's like livelihoods? Like there are people that work, cast and crew that work that set all this up. And now they're gonna get for their good work is a negative reception from the public.
Yeah.
They're always gonna be remembered as, oh, Coachella 2023. Yeah, that shit sucked.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting that you bring up like the relationship between like the artist and the audience, especially at a live performance. Like what you owe them at the very least is a performance. Like that's kind of the sacred aspect about going to Coachella, about going to any live show, is that you're expected to see a performance.
Right.
And I think something there, this is kind of, I'm taking notes from an Insider article that wrote about what happened last night. But they were kind of mentioning that what was interesting is that Frank Ocean has kind of always toyed with the concept of being a celebrity his entire career. If you go back to, and like how far he can push that boundary of what his fans will do, of what he's willing to do, and where that line lays, from celebrity to God, like literally pedestal, like someone who has beyond celebrity and is this entity that people look up to. And Frank has mastered that. Looking at the whole Blonde Endless situation, with the Endless live stream, kind of similar. Like he was having this 24-hour live stream that fans were dedicating shifts to go watch for like a week straight, just waiting for him to show up. And he knew that. He could have easily just started the live stream and showed up, but no. He's like, I'm going to, the people will do anything to see me. They will do anything. And I'm going to push that limit to make them even more diehard fans. And people waited, and we got the Endless live stream. It was a visual album, and that was the whole, like, coupled with his cutting with the Def Jam deal, and then he dropped Blonde, which, we have Blonde. But even with Blonde, he refused to do a tour. He didn't want to give the people what they want, because he always wants people to want him more, and at this point it was working.
Yeah.
We had the FYF performance, which is iconic. It's even more impactful now, like with the context of the Coachella performance last night. He was at the Panorama. Like I think he had like three different performances at different festivals. Amazing set list, super cohesive, beautiful music, like just amazing live versions of songs that just have such a different energy. Like I still play the live version of Good Guy. Like that song live, I think FYF was literally insane. And so and yet he doesn't do a tour, and apparently there was supposed to be a tour also. This is also an insider thing I got sent to me today, that there was supposed to be a tour for what was supposed to be his album that was gonna drop in 2020. And this person, I can't really say who or where this was sent to me, it was a message saying that she was working that tour, like preparing the details for that tour, and she said she got treated like shit, in terms of trying to, like, appease what Frank wants. Again, I think he's known to be flip-flopping all the time, crazy demands. But back to the main point, Frank has always pushed that limit, is what I'm trying to say. He's always pushed that limit of what people are willing to do for their favorite celebrity. And I think last night was a moment where it was pushed too far, where the sheen wore off, where the experiment did not pay off, and in fact hurt a lot of people in the process. Whether it was the first 10 minutes of a performance kind of hiding his face, the stage, the way it was set up, being completely closed off from the audience. Even when the cameras were on, he was hiding from the cameras, kind of playing with that, like, can you see me, can you not? It's a similar thing that Kanye did at the Yeezus tour with the mask over his face.
Right.
Yeah, so kind of playing with that visual. Again, pushing the boundaries of celebrity. And I honestly think we're also partially to blame that Frank Ocean thought that he could do anything and it wouldn't matter. People would love him. and that is why we got the performance we did last night. He didn't want to do it, so he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna just do a couple, maybe 5 songs, DJ set, blah 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 blah, fill up the time, cut out curfew. They're gonna say it was the best performance of all time." Didn't really pan out that way. So, what do you think of that theory?
It sucks, man. It sucks because again, like something I'm thinking about is very manipulative. Again, we've heard stories of superstars being difficult to work with, and a lot of the time, a good amount of the time, it's for a better purpose. It's for the sake of the show, kind of thing. Like, oh no, I genuinely have this better idea that I want to do that I may have thought of last minute. I apologize for the inconvenience, but let's do it. I was watching, Patron Saint the podcast the weekend. He had a Hulu documentary about the whole about his performance, and he wanted to switch up the set list right in the middle of everything. And yeah, that was complicated. That complicated things for everyone, but it ended up being a pretty good show that he followed through with. Meanwhile, you get to Frank Ocean, and it seems a lot of it is due to something that he just, again, he's in this grieving process. That's a whole thing that maybe he's just trying to work through at the moment by performing, by getting through these nerves, and that is a very valid thing. But also with all this shit about the tour, with the Cayendo vinyl that he kind of like tricked everyone off on paying for this thing, and you get a different thing, like a whole nother song you didn't pay for. There's so many things, and the thing that coming back to my main point is that he is going to eventually, he confirmed that there is a new album coming at some point. 10, 20 years.
No, like even that.
No. But my point is not the album. My point is that it's probably gonna be a masterpiece. It's probably gonna be really good, and we're just gonna have to eat this stuff. And they're gonna be the "told you so" fans that are like, "See, you guys hated on him for this. Meanwhile, he was working on this album." But it's like, no, that doesn't invalidate or downplay all the bullshit we had to do to get to this album. And for some reason, the people that are complaining right now say, like us, like pretty much everyone that went to Coachella, they're complaining, and it's very valid. I don't want to.
No, people are valid to complain.
Thing,
I see a lot of discourse online saying he doesn't owe you anything. His brother just died. Yes, these are facts, but he really does owe us in terms of this performance. People paid money to see that. Like, by contract, he signed on the dotted line that he was going to put on a show. And it was like as if it was basically another Endless Blonde situation. Like, let me give you this bullshit so then I can do what I want, at this point, the collateral wasn't Def Jam. It was all of us, So I think that's where shit went really south. But no, I agree with everything you said. In terms of the album, the announcement where he's like, "Oh yes, there is an album, but not right now," like that. Everyone was like, "Oh, album confirmed." Album, like he said it, album's coming on the way. Like, no, that actually doesn't mean anything.
Flaky. Yeah, it was the most flaky like announcement of an album, or if you even want to call it an announcement. It was like, "Look, man, I'm not here for an album," and then everyone started booing him, and he's like, "Wait. Like, it's actually there is an album, but not right now." It's like, okay, sure.
That puts us right back where we were. Like, I knew he was in the studio making stuff, but he doesn't say anything about an album, and so he was just the same thing. So yeah, no, I'm not saying I'm not supporting any like people saying, "Oh, album's on the way, coming in next year." He's due for it. Like he just said it at Coachella. Like, no, it doesn't mean anything, bro. And take it from me as a Frank Ocean fan. You got to be cynical, bro. You have to always be a pessimist and it's really toxic. I hate thinking this way, bro. I hate thinking the worst all the time, especially about my favorite artist. But honestly, right now, I'm really not fucking with Frank. Last night,
No, I was just going to give an example from this past week. I mentioned it last stream, but that got taken down. The news came out of a Chris Breaux registering a song. I forget what the title of the name was called, with ASCAP, where you get you have to like submit a song so that way you can get copyrighted, all that stuff. And of course, news came out. Chris Breaux, new song, really cool. And I sent it to Matt, and he came back with like, yeah, all right,
This
you
cat.
know, kind of thing. And I was like, and there's definitely a part of me that was like, come on, man, like give yourself a little bit of happiness, like a little bit of optimism, like cheer up, bud. And sure enough, like 20 minutes later, the news comes out. Yeah, no, that was a different Chris Breaux. It was a
Debunked.
like a country music
Yeah.
artist that also goes by the same name that lives in Nashville. So it's real, man. It's real.
real.
You gotta really approach anything with Frank with like, it's not happening until like it is in my phone.
Yeah.
And even then,
And even then,
like, we are
that's the
watching this
worst
thing.
part. Even then, it's ass. It's
It was one of the worst performances I've seen in my life. I couldn't sleep last night because I felt this shit coming because we were walking around like, we're the shit.
man, I can't fucking take this anymore, bro. I can't take it anymore.
Get it?
I
get it.
can't.
Hey,
I'm
man.
so tired of this. Like, man, it's just I knew he didn't care, but man, he does not care. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Frank Ocean, I don't even know if he's gonna be there weekend 2, y'all. Like, from that statement, it said that Coachella and Frank are not in good standing right now. Probably because they're like, what the fuck was that? You know,
You just kind of fucked us over
fucked-
off a whole week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you fucked all of us over. And now, you know, they haven't even posted about it. Like, it's crazy. You know, this is the headliner. Frank Ocean, not even posted about it. Everyone's pissed off at him. And honestly, bro should just pull out. Like, you know that if Coachella has other artists on retainer in case something happens for headliners. Someone said that tonight or on Sunday it was Lana Del Rey in case something happened for Frank. And then next weekend I think it's Miley Cyrus or something. So people are on retainer to like take over. And honestly, at this point, bro, like Frank, if you can't get your shit together in this week, like save yourself the embarrassment. Seriously. Like, it was so obvious that he just was not ready. Like, bro did not do his homework. He did not prepare the presentation. Like, he waited till the night of.
Yeah.
Actually, you sent me a tweet by Lamar, which is Abel's, what is he, like his manager or something like that? Or like his...
Best friend and like
Yeah.
creative coordinator. Like basically he gets everything.
his creative
He
director.
talks to
Yeah.
Abel, what does he want to do? And yeah, creative director. I think that's the name for it. Are we gonna switch over to it?
Yeah, I can grab it. I think it's just in my DMs right here.
Yeah. Let's talk about it, man. This was very, very interesting.
Very telling.
Very interesting.
Where'd you send
Also,
me
we're
that?
definitely not getting that. We're definitely not getting that Frank Ocean weekend. That
Nah.
photo that I've been wanting of them.
Nah.
It
The
doesn't
moment...
seem like it.
Yeah, no. The moment Frank stepped off stage, he was gone. He was not going to be seen by anybody.
Yeah.
Hold on. What's his not his Instagram. What's his
Just look up like Lamar XO.
Lamar XO. Yeah, so Lamar, here it is. He made a tweet 3 days before Frank Ocean's set. With this he said, how you make a great body of work but can't put a set list together. And of course all of like the comments are like, "Oh, is this about Abel? Is this about Abel? Like, say it to his face, bro." I'm like, "Bro, come on." Like, obviously Abel's not even really like an actual headliner. He killed it. Like, Abel was great. Anyway, I said to you, like, yeah, this came out 3 days ago, but it's definitely still relevant to what happened last night. But then you said some along the lines of like, there was maybe some behind the scenes conversations happening about the Frank Ocean set list, about the Frank Ocean performance. Obviously, yes, there were, because word was going around in the Coachella staff that he was pulling this, that the live stream being pulled, that they don't have anything ready. This was 3 days before. So if last night's performance felt like it was last minute, that's probably because it was. Because 3 days ago, this again, we're trying to connect the dots here. This is not proven at all, but just the fact that he said this, and it really doesn't apply to anyone else, could mean that Frank 3 days prior had no idea what he was going to perform when he stepped out on that stage. which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the main part of it that really screams to me like it's Frank is the great body of work because
Yeah,
for someone like Lamar who's affiliated with, the weekend, for them to acknowledge that it is someone with an incredible, great body of work, like that's got to be someone that, is an album that stands the test of time and that you could say that with Blonde, Channel Orange, all that stuff. And no, yeah, you said it right, man. Like I think yeah, word spreads around, like you said, like Coachella, they needed to straight up like defrost a whole ice rink, change a whole set,
everything.
like
Day of.
things that were months locked in advance. And then you fast forward and all of a sudden like it's as if like we're from back to square one,
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I don't know, man. I think for me the main thing is that there was a tweet that was going around. It was like not every artist is an entertainer, and not every artist checks all the boxes. And I think in certain for sure, I think and this discussion definitely was like kind of has been rattling out around my brain a little bit with our Prince of Pop video that's been going around, because just because there is that checklist of like who is the Prince of Pop, you need to be able to dance, you need to be able to sing, you need to be able to make records. But another thing is that was with Michael Jackson. I'm not gonna say that Frank was ever in that conversation. Didn't need to be. Um, but I'm just saying like another thing that people love about Michael Jackson is that he just gave it his all in every sense. Was always on time, tried to do what he could, all that stuff. And to me, like that's just like what a professional artist does. Is just does what they need to
an
do.
artist who cares. That's what they do. They
Cares about their fans.
Yeah.
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 And yeah, that's the main point of it is like that. Other than that, like, and I sorry, I'm kind of going all scatterbrain at the
You
moment
good.
because there's a lot to talk about. But
Yeah.
I'm looking at this bar off of Futura Free.
Mm.
Futura Free is the one that everyone has been posting lately is they paying me, mama. I should be paying them. I should be paying y'all. Honest to God, I'm just a guy. I'm not a god. Sometimes I feel like I'm a god, but I'm not a god. And I almost feel like he should be listening to that section of the song
That
recently, just because,
yeah.
sometimes you just got to you got to humble yourself. And I hope this was that. I hope, I'm not hoping
I
that
don't know.
his mental health is affected or whatever by this, but I am hoping that some of this stuff gets like the
This
word
was a
gets
rude
to him a little
awakening.
bit and he's able to
Yeah.
he's able to take it, improve, be better. That at that point that's all we can ask for is him looking back at all these events and choosing to be better than this, because this just sucked. It's no
Hands
ifs,
down.
ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, there's no
One
way you
thing's
can
for
spin
sure, two
this.
things for certain is that this was just this was such a stain on
Yeah.
his record, and I don't see any way of him. I don't see any single thing him doing like bouncing back from this. And someone mentioned in the chat here, oh, did you hear news about him spraining his ankle?
Yes.
Yeah, but look, man, you can honestly at this point get a piano out there, get your DJ or whatever, play the instrumentals, and just sing your ass off
Right.
sitting down.
Literally.
Like I mean that's what he did a lot for that that last performance that everyone kind of clips from is like he's just sitting down, singing
And
Nike, singing
yeah,
all
and
that stuff.
it is
Like
what he kind of
they
did
Mhm.
for the majority of the performance last night.
Yeah,
And I mean,
yeah.
this is just it was Rolling Stone who kind of broke that news. I think this is some bullshit, honestly. Like he's probably I don't know if like his team is trying to put out oh my bad, y'all. His team is trying to put out like some statement or something, or trying to mess up the news cycle with some sort of like
Cover story.
yeah, cover story or something, like to get something other than, oh, this dude is an asshole, he's a diva and he didn't care to be there. Oh no, he hurt his ankle, and that's why you can't put a set list together and think about an actual cohesive show when your ankle's hurting, because if you have a boo-boo you can't do anything. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, Frank, that happened to you. And it really showed in the performance.
Dog, all I'm
Yeah.
saying is that take Beyonce, take Frank, take Bruno, take SZA, all of them, they
Bro.
sprained their ankle during a performance. They're drinking some water, collecting themselves for a quick minute, and being like, all right, we here, we're back at it.
Bruno's taking
Next song.
Bruno's taking a line of cocaine. He's like, I'm good. Like he's out there.
I'm
you know?
good. Yeah, in fact, yeah, he's gonna take that line of cocaine, get right back to dancing. Like nothing ever
with a broken
happened.
foot. Hey, I mean, freaking Rihanna performed Super Bowl with a whole child in her stomach, bro, like pregnant, and she still got up, raised 50 feet in the air, and did a performance and dance. Like, I'm sorry, that
When
statement.
there's an if, there's a way.
That statement is some bullshit.
Or when there's a
to
will,
me.
there's a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah. Let me just go through some of these comments. I see y'all in the chat. Yeah. Everyone's just mourning for me. I appreciate the sentiment.
Yeah.
Have we lit a candle?
Hey,
in the chat?
give some candles in the chat, some hearts in the
Yeah.
chat for Matt.
Give me some hearts.
The
give me
boy
some-
needs it.
Yeah, give me some. This is a memorial to a once loyal Frank fan right now.
Oh man.
Tania Abraham says that his performance in 2017 Panorama was so good. I'm glad I didn't go to Coachella this year. Yeah, bro. Like, I was really thinking about going to Coachella too. Like, I had people telling me, "Oh, I got a ticket. Like, it's on hold." Like, I said, I'm like, that price. Keep it on hold for me. I'll tell you in a couple months when we get closer. Like, I was really considering.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, if I was there and I paid over $1,000, $1,200, $2,000 to be in that desert and see what I just witnessed on Morgan Doesn't Cares live last night, I would have been livid. Apparently, a fight broke out after the after the performance because people, I don't know why, people probably just fucking riled up, but apparently a fight broke out when people were walking away from the stage, and it stopped everyone from being able to go, like, pass through. It was like a whole fight circle. Like, people were fighting each other because of how awful that performance was. Yeah, but talking about the Panorama performance, FYF, I literally have y'all.
Take that shit down, man.
Yo,
It's not healthy for you to see him.
it's
right now.
It's so toxic, bro. I have to look at this.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just laughing at you every day
it's
that
laughing.
you see it.
But I know, honestly, I had my blonde vinyl set up on my vinyl wall. Took that shit down. I was like, I can't look at this. Oh God, I actually took that down before it started because he wasn't gonna live stream it, and I was like, fuck this dude, man. He hates us here. Like, he's gonna, when he wants to perform it for all the rich trust fund babies that's at Coachella, and he doesn't care about anyone else like trying to view this online. Like, they were hyping this up for weeks.
Man, I'm so sorry. That's no, and then what was that? Oh, there was a comment here that someone said, at this point, Coachella's kind of dead. That's another thing I want to talk about is this kind of, are we witnessing kind of the spiraling of Coachella as we, before our very eyes? Because I feel like over the last couple of years, it's been very dull. Like, for example, The Weeknd performed, was that last year or 2 years ago? That was 2 years ago, right?
2 years ago, I think. Someone.
No, actually, I think it was last year because Dawn FM was definitely out at that point.
Okay.
But week one, he was screaming a lot about how, like, yo, Coachella, y'all want me to go home? Like, y'all are so dead right now. Like, very angrily about it.
Yeah.
Even this year, there was a point where he kind of said a similar thing. He's like, all right, seems like you guys just want to go home right now, huh? And then they kind of screamed a little bit, and he was just like, all right, well, I'm just sing.
Yeah.
So, the crowd's been, much has been said about how the crowd has kind of dulled down. Now it's more about,
it's the influencers.
look at me, I'm at Coachella.
The
It's
content.
the influencers.
Yeah.
Versus, like, I really want to go see all these different artists, which sucks, man, because the idea of music festivals is such a cool idea. You get to collect a bunch of these different artists, put them in an area, and you get to choose which artists you get to see, all that stuff. But I think what we're seeing is that people are not valuing it that much. Like, Jai Paul, there was a tweet I saw, and I'm curious what you think about it. It's his first ever performance, and it's at Coachella.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how, like look, man, this is Coachella, like with the biggest music festival, and that's where he gets to perform for the first time at Coachella. Like, what happened to artist development? What happened to ramping up? You know, you could go again to Frank, where it's like, yeah, you know, he's established, he's been established, he has put out a classic album, but what happened to developing artists?
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
the whole
actually like training.
yeah, the Jai Paul story
Yeah,
is a little different because, um, uh, Jai Paul, you know, he was making music underground, releasing it on like Tumblr and like Bandcamp and stuff like that about 10 years ago. And he stopped making music and stopped his music career because all his life's work got leaked. And then I guess
right.
he made a comeback, at Coachella. It wasn't really like oh, I don't want to do anything unless I'm at Coachella type of deal. Maybe that was more of like Frank's deal, but I think this was more of like it was like a if you know situation for Jai Paul. So like I think Coachella wanted to hit those fans, and I mean his set was great. It was legendary. Like I watched that playback. It wasn't live stream because they were having tech issues, but for a first performance after not performing at all, actually he's never performed once live. It was sick. It sounded amazing. The crowd was hype. The crowd loved it. It was a whole set. Like it was a performance. And then you look at someone like Frank Ocean, who you think is even better than Jai Paul, who's gonna put on an even more legendary set, and it's the opposite. In fact, people hated it so much they left because it was so incoherent.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. But in terms of Coachella dying, I don't think it's dying. Like it's gonna go away. Coachella, the crowd's been kind of shitty for the past fucking I don't know. Ever since they started streaming this shit on YouTube, like people saw the value of it on the internet, and all of a sudden it became the content farm. Where you go, it's content and then the music. That's really what it is now. And honestly, you can say that about other festivals. Rolling Loud, I think, honestly, is an even worse crowd. Just especially like Miami or LA, like it's just man, it's just fucked up people. Like I don't want to be like it's a bunch of degenerates out there, but like at least in Coachella, you have like I don't know. Maybe it's because it's just a bunch of trust fund babies. I don't know, but it's a different crowd. But at least at Coachella, like, or rather, Coachella is not any better. And there were definitely some performances that I was watching on live, and the crowd was super dead. And it was for someone like I thought was going to be amazing.
Gorillas.
Yeah, Gorillas. Like, but then there were other sets that were awesome, like Kali Uchis, like people going crazy for her. Kenny Beats DJ set was insane. Like, there was amazing performances. So I feel like Coachella still has those moments for those types of artists, still puts on incredible shows for people, and people still love to actually just go and listen to the music or to the DJ sets and stuff like. But when it comes to like the big headliners, man, like people will trample over each other. They will push people out of the way. They'll step on people's necks to get up there just to get the best view, for their phone, not for them, but like to post it. But yeah, man, I feel like it's less anyone saying that this is Coachella's fault. What happened with Frank, I think, is wrong. I think Coachella was actually probably another victim of Frank's inability to fulfill his contract and be cooperative. So I don't think Coachella's going anywhere. I don't think this is a sign that Coachella doesn't care themselves. The institution of Coachella doesn't care. I think it's just a reflection of fans and Frank, honestly, the whole situation.
Yeah, I don't think Coachella is going away, but I think just the reputation of it is going further and further down.
Yeah.
And obviously there are going to be always people that show up because money's to be made there.
Oh, yeah.
The reputation in terms of the higher class people, again, the elitist crowd, probably the crowd that Frank Ocean's like specifically gunning for lately. But in terms of like, the general public, the real people, like people I've been talking to that have gone, the word is on the street is that like it's kind of whatever now. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the vibe's not the same. So that as I'm just hoping that whatever it is, that there's some cool live performance innovation that allows that comes in and changes everything up for the better because I don't know, man. Yeah, right now the live performance scene kind of sucks. Ticketmaster's ruling everything,
That too. That
and
too.
and Ticketmaster sucks. And but there's someone I saw, Maggie Rogers. I don't know if you've heard her music. I don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. I've heard like a song here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but she had it to where you could only buy tickets for her shows at the box office,
Mm.
and she would actually be at the box office for a certain area and
That's
be
cool.
selling the tickets to you, which is obviously like very vintage, very analog, very
That's how it
um
should be. Like,
for her specifically. Like
yeah.
yeah, but and it's tough to do that for every single artist.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
like that's so cool. Is like we're bringing back that experience of going to a place,
Yeah.
buying a ticket, and really like having that experience of like I bought this ticket, now I get to go.
Yeah.
Whereas, nowadays like people can just like cop,
Right. Uh, they're
four tickets to
bots.
upcoming shows.
Yeah.
Bots, yeah, or reselling like now it's almost like a fucking like drug deal getting a ticket
Yeah.
where you're
Yeah.
like, all right, yeah, man, like you got the stuff, like that kind
Right.
of thing. Like
Right.
it's all just so that's what I mean by I think more so like the death of Coachella in terms of like the death of like the spirit of it,
Mm-hmm.
like back yeah, ever
Oh yeah.
since that shit was streamed, it's like no, now it's just like the value of being there at Coachella.
Right. Right.
Um
Right. Right.
I
Right.
don't know, man.
Yeah.
We'll
No.
see.
Someone asked, Colby asked, what do y'all think they will do about Weekend 2? Will he still be allowed to perform? That was kind of a question we posed earlier in the stream, but to revisit that, that's kind of the next question, honestly. After all this, are they gonna let him do this again? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's very plausible that he could just pull out. Um, and I think it would be best that he does. It would still look awful, on his behalf. I mean, it would, but at the end of the day, I think like bro, like if if you don't want to perform, you don't perform, you know. Um, and I think Frank would probably prefer that Coachella says you're not performing rather than him breaking his contract, not performing, and then like suing him, for not doing that. But also maybe I don't know. Like it just depends on like what Coachella's next move is here and what are the conversations happening behind closed doors about what happened, last night and how they can prevent that from happening again. So we'll see. Again, we'll have a lookout on what Coachella says. Coachella hasn't said even a single thing about what happened last night, so we're still in the dark about that. But for me, I feel like the likelihood of him not performing Weekend 2 is growing higher and higher the more that I think about it.
Yeah, you know what? The sick and twisted, as you're saying that, the kind of sick and twisted like marketing brain of mine, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
screams like, obviously this sucks, but also it's kind of like all press is good press, and now people are more locked in than ever to see what does Weekend 2 look like. And
I
also,
guess that's
and
true.
and so maybe it may be on their end again. This very cynical mindset of mine, but it's. So in that sense, like maybe I could see them some corporate suit and tie being like, okay, like now let's really like make him perform, and who knows, maybe he will bounce back, but also then again, I don't want to get my hopes up because I've learned this
You've
past
learned,
month
yeah,
you don't want to do that because Frank is a toxic son of a bitch, man.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, no, we'll see. Week two. Honestly, what I'm looking for from Frank is like some kind of acknowledgement of it. Like I hope he doesn't go dark. I hope he doesn't go back to his mysterious
oh no,
ways after this, and we just
yeah,
see him. I want him to at least like, even if it's not even an apology, to be honest. It's like I know some people may ask for that, and I get that, but I just want some sort of like, yeah, that sucked.
He's
That's
not.
it. That's all I'm.
He's not gonna do that. I'm gonna tell you this now. His pride, his ego is definitely way too big to even admit something like that. But if he doesn't post anything though, like at all, not even like a photo from the performance,
These ice.
yeah, not like nothing from the performance, and I think that's gonna speak louder than if he did post. Because if he doesn't acknowledge it at all, then oh yeah, that shit sucked, and like he can't do anything about it. So yeah, we'll see. Some people are in the chat are saying that they're thinking maybe midweek we'll get some sort of announcement or something. It's interesting how you pose like a potential big marketing opportunity for Coachella. I could totally see that, but honestly, I feel like their reputation's like bad right now. It's like looking bad on behalf of them. If they're gonna like be really cryptic again and be like, okay, will he suck weekend 2? We'll see, y'all. You're gonna have to go there and find out. I don't think that's the right move. Like I feel like
it won't be Coachella being like, oh, check all this out. The news outlets will do it for them.
Yeah.
Is like complex news, all that stuff. It will be like, guys, like what's gonna happen week 2? Like that's kind of like it honestly markets itself. I don't think they will have to do anything other than just the typical guys like come through the stream. So I don't think it's gonna be I don't think it's gonna be Coachella being like, all right, y'all, like I know last week sucked, but check this out. Like we'll see what happens together. Like, kind of relay like that. But, it just like the situation in of itself is kind of it's like a bomb that you're waiting to see whether it explodes or not, because it can either three outcomes. It can either they can either like you said, get the retainer artist that just replaces him. It can be better or it can be worse. Those are the three outcomes. So we're gonna wait to see which of those three choices it decides to become. I don't know. We'll see. Or you know what? Kay brings up an important point here. Let's get DJ Matty Mags take his slot.
Tap me in, Frank. I got you. Tap me in. You don't got to do anything. Go sit in your multi-million-dollar penthouse in New York and relish in your your material items and think about how good you are about everyone else. But let me in. I will save the day. I will be headlining, and I'll put on the most legendary set you've ever heard. And then I'll bring Cesco out. He'll be my backup dancer, my hype man. Nav,
Sharon,
Abel,
Khaled.
Oh yeah. The DJ Khaled's coming out. Sis is coming out. Fucking
Matt's flicking his tongue for her.
Oh, okay. All right. That's
and just like that, all good things come to an end. Like you know what?
Just brings it too far.
Hey man, blame Chip fan. He's in the chat. Yeah. You and Jose, man. Y'all and Jose. Luis said, what side are y'all on? We're definitely not on Frank's side. We'll say that.
Let me tell you this right here. Luis, you want to know what side we're on right now? Let me tell you this right here. Last night's performance.
It was one of the worst performances I've seen in my life. I couldn't sleep last night because I felt this shit coming because we were walking around like, we're the shit.
One of the worst performances I've ever seen. This shit was some hot ass.
Ever.
And we're not exaggerating. When the best part of your show is the twerking security guard, something's off. Something's wrong.
Something has gone amok.
Yeah.
Let's see. What other comments you guys? I know we've been we had a lot of shit to get off our chest, but let's see what y'all got. Curry, crazy that he was a headline for Coachella for like 2-3 years. Yeah, man, He was scheduled to perform in 2020, and then obviously things fell through. Not fell through. We were in a global pandemic, and and then here we are, 2023, and this shit still happens, man.
I think well, on that note, why I think he doesn't want to perform. I think he didn't want to perform after all the shit that happened. COVID, his brother, I wouldn't want to go out there and show my face either. And so, I understand that, but 3 years you've been slated to be on this thing. Like, the least you can do is just have a cohesive set list. If it's just you sitting down singing your songs, great. That would have been amazing. Like, but no, he couldn't even give us that. That's where the problem is, by the way. If you're just joining us now, or if you want me to recap, is the problem was how he went about that situation was it was disrespectful people's time, the Coachella staff, the crew. Frank decided to show his face for maybe like 50% of the time, and put on one of the most unprepared, incomprehensible, incohesive performances that has ever happened as a headliner at Coachella. And we kind of looped it into his history of disrespecting and not caring about his fans, and how much he tries to push the boundary of using that veil of celebrity that will hopefully let him get away with anything, get away with murder, get away with, however you want to spin it. But what was the more existential issue about what happened last night was that veil finally got lifted up or something. If that's the analogy, the rug was pulled, the curtain dropped, the mask was taken
Jello's
off.
jiggling, the mask was taken off.
It was,
and
yeah.
And you mentioning that, I think the one thing that I think pisses me off for other people is the fact that he made it like headlining, like I'm headlining Coachella. And if he was gonna come in with this energy, I would have preferred if he just take a different slot. Like, look, Kali Uchis was able to kill it from a daytime slot.
One of the best
like you
performances
don't
of the weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't necessarily, he didn't need to have that, but I get it, like the name Frank Ocean, headlining, it sells.
Yeah.
But if this is what you're gonna give us, if this is the bullshit that performance that you're gonna give us, then maybe you're just not that, you're not him. You're not that guy. And that's okay. That's okay. You're just like going back to that tweet. Not every artist is an entertainer.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Just who you are. Just keep doing the parts of your artistry that you like doing, which at this point seems like just selling luxury jewelry.
Yeah.
And if that's just who you are
cheap
at this
merch
point,
for up sales prices, like insane prices. That's what he's good at right now.
yeah, if that's who you are, then fuck it, just keep to that. But if you're gonna just sign up to be a headliner at Coachella and just give a half-ass performance for an opportunity that literally artists like are so hungry for, killing for, then maybe just don't do it.
Yeah.
Stick to the stuff you know.
I see.
Yeah.
Tania says not at Frank's side at all, but everyone on Reddit is saying he was tripping during the entire set, like he seemed off. I've also seen that comment before. I don't really know. I can't speak to that. I don't know how Frank is like sober, like how he operates on a day to day. Maybe he was just really nervous, or he knew that he had to bullshit his way through the next hour and a half and was feeling real fucking scared of that. I mean, the only thing maybe he was like, one of the only things he said was like, yo, who's on drugs tonight? Who's high? He was probably hoping that everyone was, so they wouldn't remember that shit. But, but I don't know about that. I think he was just nervous. Bro does not like to be in the public eye at all. I mean, he pulled the live stream because of that. But I definitely feel like he pulled that live stream because he had no idea what he was going to do when he stepped out on that stage. And it showed. It showed for sure.
It showed.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Honestly, so you know what, my kind of where I want to go from this point on is just kind of like what A Miracle says here. I thought Frank was what was it? I thought Frank was another performer when I first saw a clip of him. Yeah, like that's another thing is like is just like again another aspect of like the unprofessionality of it all is just the lack of overall like just like any type of detail work that went into it. So no, I honestly like this is gonna be something that I think about for a while.
Yeah.
I know like this was our emergency pod. We needed to react to this.
Yeah.
If nothing else, because this is a big moment in music, but also it's just this is something that's definitely going to be discussed and talked about. We coming into this, we're like, this could be a big moment in music history, the comeback of Frank Ocean. But now it is a moment in music history for all the wrong reasons,
Yeah.
and it's kind of and honestly just kind of embarrassing. I think that's like the main emotion that I take away from this is embarrassing for him,
Yeah.
embarrassing for, I'm sure you could speak to it a little more, is like the fans, the hardcore fans that
Dude,
was hyping
totally.
this up, and now it's like, and that thing you showed me where it's like the caption was like, this is what y'all waited 7 years from. Now, like that's gonna be a whole thing. So, but
Yeah.
that sucks. That sucks. And
Yeah. It just
yeah, again, I'm
his
just hoping for some sort of acknowledgement.
yeah. I think just his true colors were revealed uh
Mm,
last night.
mm.
That and people are saying about, they bring up the album shit, like, oh, he said something about an album. I know he's working on music, but if I'm being honest, like, if this is where he's at mentally, like where his head is at, I'm not saying like he's like mentally ill or something, but like the headspace he's in, the behavior, the attitude that he's approaching shit like this. I don't want the album, like, straight up. I don't want to hear what he has to say on a record. I'm sure it will sound cool because he has the resources to make anything he wants, but I'm not interested in what he has to say artistically at this moment. Which is it's really a shame that this is like what is resulted of this. Even outside of the whole me being so disappointed and and felt like I've been left out to dry by Frank so many times. Um, I'm just like not interested in him artistically right now. It sucks. Like, even when I was listening to music, like to Frank's music leading up to the live stream that I thought was gonna happen, I was like, it's just not really hitting. Like, it's just not. I think because of all the shit that he's done the past couple of years to his other fans, with like the whole merch site shit and the Homer brand, not like how much he's alienated his fans. And now when I go back to that music, it's like tainted for me, which fucking sucks. Like, it's Blonde is such a revolutionary album. Channel Orange is such uh, a moment in time, like his best, commercial work. It's like, now I go back and I'm like, fuck, this dude, it's like this, it's like the Kanye thing, it's literally like, I feel weird about listening to Kanye songs. It's kind of funny because like they were playing Kanye songs at Coachella, like Kenny Beats was playing Kanye at Coachella and people getting down to it and everyone's like, you can't cancel Ye, like, and so it's just like, but still I would still feel weird,
Yeah.
participating in that.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting point you bring up because I think the thing is with Ye, that Ye versus Frank Ocean comparison, which I really, we were discussing a lot recently, was like, who is the more frustrating at this point to be a fan of? And it sucks that you're a big fan of both.
Yeah.
So first of all, like, damn man, my condolences.
Bro,
In a
my heart has been
tough couple
shattered.
years. Like, to ruin something as pure as music, like
Yeah.
I say the whole thing about me being an ex Drake fan, death of a Drake fan, all that stuff as kind of a joke, just because he has been unserious these last couple years, and he has been the projects have been tainted, and here I am trying to defend each album, all that stuff. But it's so weird for it to be a scenario where it's the music is good, maybe Ye
Right.
not so much recently,
But
but
like the
it's
old
just
Kanye, like,
everything else.
yeah,
Mhm,
all that
exactly,
stuff.
but it's everything else. It's the artist himself in this particular case with Frank Ocean that's ruining the music.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like it's really valid. It's really valid. Like it's not like a scenario where I feel like, anyone who may be kind of Frank Ocean may be tainted for them, they're overreacting in any way. Like this shit is like affecting your money in certain aspects. It's affecting And yeah, I think that's a totally fair feeling. So first of all, again, like my condolences for that, ruining something like as good as music. Like shit,
Yeah.
man. That's sad to hear. It's sad
Yeah.
to hear. But no, man.
It's crazy, bro.
I think the
Never trust your heroes.
yeah, never trust them. But I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. These coming next couple weeks. Is that kind of all you wanted to say on? Did you have anything else you wanted to bring up that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, there's a lot to just unpack, and I feel like I need to really, like you said, I need to sit on it and think about everything that went down, and I just hope that like everyone who was there, who has never really thought about the harm that a artist and listener relationship can do to the audience, to people who consume the music. I hope they kind of realize that now, because that's kind of a conversation that kind of goes up and like goes around in the music space, like about how artists don't owe you anything, how fans can get toxic. We've kind of talked about that with The Weeknd, how they like, oh, The Weeknd is down bad, like we getting the best out like music of all time right now, like we want him to be taking drugs, we want him to be getting broken up with, because that just means good music for us, but that same toxicity can go both ways. Artists who take advantage of the fact that they know that they're put on a pedestal, that their fans will do anything, literally anything for them, and then they exploit them, and people don't realize they're being exploited all the time. And that was one thing it hurt for me to kind of keep my tongue, hold my tongue with other Frank Ocean fans when they're like, yo, you see he dropped like the new shirt, bro, you see the new Blonded. I'm like, bro, you just got capitalism, bro. Like you got Blonded, bitch. Like like it's that shit, that shirt's not coming. Like I'm telling you that right now. Yeah, so it's just like, for people who were there, it was, I think, for the first time in music history, that facade and that illusion was broken so in the worst way possible, and it was with the biggest artist of our generation, an artist that shaped all of us, from our generation, from generation below us to generation above us, like shaped how we approached life, how we think about our childhood, how we think about love, how we think about the summertime. Like Blonde, it was that record, but I think people are having an existential identity crisis after that, realizing like, yo, I don't know if you realize, but Frank doesn't know you exist, and he doesn't care unless you're a number, you're a dollar sign, and I think that was the biggest takeaway from last night. And for me, like, thankfully, I'm very far along my grieving journey of being a jaded Frank Ocean fan, so I can easily just sever that tie. But for maybe many people, that might have been their first taste of that last night, and at the actual performance, and I can only imagine how upset they could feel right now. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, there are people that showed up to Coachella, waited years for this, the comeback of Frank Ocean, and saved all their hard-earned money, showed up to Coachella, and then this happened. So shit, man, we can't let Matt become After Hours a weekend and get his head cut off. No. He's not gonna do that. I'm gonna make sure he's cool. I'm gonna make
This is
sure
my
he's
Joker
all right.
moment.
No,
This is a villain arc.
Hey, Frankie.
Frankie.
Oh my God! If we ever, hey Frankie, you what is it? You just dropped the worst performance of all time, and you're laughing.
You just scammed 100,000 people and fucked over Coachella, and you're laughing. Do you know how I got these fans? All right, that's enough.
Yeah.
I'm not doing a
Oh
fucking
man,
Joker
so
impression. All right.
this is Matt's villain backstory.
Yeah.
Like it's not about what is it? It's not about the money. It's about sending a message. That's Frank backstage. It's about sending a message.
Yeah. Sending a message.
And
I don't
just
care
burning
about
the
any
last
of
bit
you.
of-
Yeah. I can go up
Oh,
on
shit,
this
what?
stage. I can go up on this stage and take a shit in your cheer on me on. I don't care about any of you. I could blow this bitch up right now. In fact, there's a bomb on this thing. He's like Bane, bro. He's like, you thought I was Frank Ocean.
A potato flew around the room before you came. He's just singing in the Bane
Oh
mask
my
on.
God.
Honestly, I wouldn't have been surprised if he came out with a mask on, singing through the mask, so it's all muffled up at this point.
Or it was like
I
a
don't
stunt
put-
double, like how like Kanye came out with like
Oh, MF Doom.
or MF Doom. Like everyone's like, that is not Kanye.
Yeah.
Like I really thought like there's a shred of that thought in my head where like, what if you didn't come on and I'm like, that shit ain't Frank, you know, like that's not him, but hey, it was him. He's a real person, you know, at least the Frank Ocean subreddit isn't so delusional that they just made this guy up. But he is a real person. And he really did that shit last night. So, and that is not in a good way. Not like, oh, he did that shit, but no, he committed something last night. Career suicide.
Yeah. Damn, man. I was watching that shit last night. Now that we kind of like went through all that stuff, it's just like my first like kind of like the emotions going through that. I was like, oh shit, this is like really happening right now. Like
Yeah.
he's really like not giving a shit. Like when he's
real
just playing
time.
the studio
Yeah.
version. Yeah, when he's playing the studio versions of Nights, I'm like, yo,
That
like,
was it. That was
no.
legitimately it for me. What's up, Cybertron
Yeah.
198 19B? I can't read that, but what's up? Thanks for coming into this
man?
stream for the first time. We've been talking about Frank for the past hour and a half, but thanks for coming through. You could always watch this video back, because we've been spitting a lot of facts. I feel like we've been telling the truth about what we feel about Frank Ocean. But yeah, no.
Hey, real
okay,
quick,
yeah.
let's get some applause in the chat for my boy Matt. He did a lot of research. Obviously, this it just took a lot of strength to obviously slander your favorite artist.
Oh yeah.
And and really but my man spoke from the heart. I don't think you said anything that was completely like flagrant, out of pocket, or anything. Like you said, I think you said what everyone's feeling at the moment, and I appreciate you. We all appreciate you. Giving. Kind of laying your heart out there, man. That sucks. So
Yeah, I mean-
thank you guys. That's all. Get some
Yeah.
applause in the chat here.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, you guys know me. I'm gonna be honest with you, and both of us are always gonna be honest with you. No artist is safe. Like if you do some fucked up shit, we will call you out, because that's just at the end of the day, we're all people. We're all humans. Like we got to do that, no matter. I'm taking down that veil. Like I said, I'm taking down that pedestal, because it's just, this is what happens. It gets abused. And last night was basically the culmination of years of abuse, and thinking that it could go so far as to a Coachella performance. But yeah, thanks for all the claps in the chat. Thanks for hanging with me. I know I don't like being a really negative person, but I also like to be truthful. And what happened last night was a negative experience, and it left me feeling a type of way. And it really sucks. I would say now more than ever, we are very much Weekend fans here. Very much a Weekend podcast. If you get anything from this.
Yeah, what's funny is we scheduled this emergency pod like literally through 2 a.m. last night or this morning, I guess. And I remember in scheduling I called back to like literally our conversations in starting this live stream, right? And we were like, yeah, man, I really want to get into like at a certain point be able to have just like, oh shit, something happened, emergency pod, like we're here. And we were like, oh yeah, Frank Ocean dropped a new. I think the specific album we brought up was like, oh, Frank just dropped emergency pod.
Right.
And sure enough, Frank is the reason we are having our first like emergency pod, and it's not for the greatest reasons. But I was just kind of like, damn, like
No.
you really had to like twist the knife in that way. And also, yeah, I'm seeing the chat right now. Matt is a low-key abuse survivor. Hey, man.
Yo, you're kind of
If I
right,
was
bro.
if I was there right now, I want to give my man a hug because
Yeah.
this is
Yeah. I'm a
this
I'm
this
a
sucks.
survivor, bro. I'm a warrior. All right. I need to start my own like community, my own like AA.
Yeah.
You know, the Frank Ocean
The Frank Ocean
abuse
abuse.
you know, abuse seminar. Like we're all gonna
Mhm.
sit in a circle, and I'm gonna. That's a good skit. That's a good skit. Just like in a circle, just like hey, like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
Matthew. Hi, Matthew. What happened?
Matthew.
Just so it was the Cayendo vinyl. Everyone's like, oh, I'm sorry. The Cayendo vinyl. I also bought a T-shirt. Oh,
Oh no.
and
Oh Matt. Oh Matt.
and I was there at the Coachella performance. Oh my god. Okay, we need to everybody
Oh,
sit down. Like
alright.
the rest of this
Yeah,
meeting,
let's
we need to
all
console
get-
him.
Group hug, guys. Let's all do a cleansing. Come on now.
Yeah. All right.
You guys have like a little like a not a prayer, like a creed that
Yeah,
you
our
guys
creed,
recite. It's
we
like,
all
I will not
recite.
be manipulated by Frank.
I am more
this-
than a Frank
the-
Ocean fan. I am not stupid, lazy, or unconcerned. Like, like I am more than a super rich kid. Like, just some.
Yeah. I review. There are more colors in this world other than blonde.
Yeah.
I see past the lies. I see
Oh
past
my
the
God.
manipulation.
Oh my god.
He is not a god.
Yeah, yeah. He's not a
But,
god. He's just a guy. He is not a god. He is just a guy. Say it.
Yeah, okay,
Manifest it.
Yeah, man. Oh no, Curry, we're not getting that Frank Ocean Daniel Caesar versus because it's just gonna be we're just gonna be playing Daniel Caesar records.
Yeah, yeah. If you want to join us for a
Oh,
Daniel Caesar listening party, sure. Yeah, because that's what it's gonna be.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
What's up? We got our sonest AK. I've not seen the chat coming in with RIP Ryan Breaux. RIP Ryan Breaux. That's a fact.
Yeah.
That I also want to not take away anything from that whole situation as well. I want to make that super clear. How we're joking around, we're talking shit. I think is justified. Frank Ocean has been pulling this shit for years, and it's again. I've said it already a million times. It was the first time we saw it on a big scale last night, but that does not negate the fact that this man did lose his brother very tragically, and could definitely be a reason why we haven't seen him in so long, and why he didn't want to perform. But that does not negate the fact that what he did give us was a pretty big slap in the face, and the most lackluster thing that he could have done. Rest in peace, Ryan. Super young, gone super young. He was like 20, 21, which was crazy. I don't know if actually I ever told you this, but Ryan, he had like a Depop page, and I followed him on Instagram for a while, and I was just on there. He had some cool stuff. I was messaging him about a pair of pants that I wanted. Some Depop shit. I'm like, what's the lowest you can go on? Like $100, $150. That's a little steep. But we were going back and forth. And then 2 days later, that's when the news came out about his passing, and that was really surreal for me. Not claiming like I knew the kid or anything, but just knowing I was messaging him a couple of days before was really crazy. Really crazy. So yeah, R.I.P. Ryan. Super sad, and my heart does go out for Frank in that regard, bro. Losing a brother like that, a young brother. It's only Frank, his younger brother, and his mom. Like, that's a whole pillar of your family you just lost. Like that, there's nothing that could replace that. So I recognize that.
Yeah, one of your foundational blocks. I mean, my biggest thing is like, I think maybe one of the 5 hardest things in this world is to bury your child or like a younger sibling. Like, damn, that's tough. So no, absolutely. definitely wishing love and blessings and strength to the Bro family.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
man. I don't know. I don't know. This is kind of
This is why situation is so complex. It's so
yeah.
intersectional and nuanced that it's so hard to navigate. But appreciate y'all for rocking with us. I think we've
Mhm.
we've approached it in a very reasonable way. I think we
In an honest way, I feel like. I
in
don't
an
think
honest way.
we
Yeah.
tried to ham up anything. This was genuine, this was real, and we try to have our fun with certain aspects of the scenario, but we just know that that at the end of the day, this, as our podcast name states, these are our thoughts, and hopefully you agree with them, you may not, but we just hope that we get you thinking a little bit about certain aspects, like Frank Ocean's the artistry. Hopefully we shed some insight on like some of the behind the scenes drama
Yeah.
that occurred.
Yeah.
That was, it's very big. So, it's a little bit of the tea with Lamar, Taylor, which was fun. But
Definitely.
I don't
Definitely.
know, man. I think the main thing, in just wrapping up these last 2 hours, we just want to say like this sucked, and for
Yeah.
many reasons, for many, many reasons. But there's a lot of reasons why it sucked, and we just hope that everyone kind of chooses to do better with the next couple moves coming up. So,
Yeah.
now with that being said, man, if we're good to wrap up, you think, we will be coming with some great content, some great videos these next couple months. Again, we had our versus matchup last Sunday.
Yes.
Currently cutting that up. It's gonna be super fun. Hopefully, we can get through with some of the copyright stuff. But
We'll definitely
yeah,
do
and
more of
and
that.
also, yeah, while I'm here, let me go ahead and plug the Playback TV. Um, I'm linking in the chat here. Basically, cool app where it's kind of like Twitch, but basically we can watch off YouTube. That's where we're going to be doing a lot of like live album reactions versus matchups, like as you can see with the weekend Bruno Mars. Um, and yeah, man. Hope. Or do we want to do a what's in our rotation, or are we chilling?
This
Yeah,
is a special circumstance. We came here to talk about one thing. We just leave it,
yeah,
cut it off clean. But yeah,
yeah,
follow us on Playback TV. We do some cool stuff there. In terms of stuff that we basically can't do here on YouTube. So be sure to follow us there. Yeah, I think one thing for all the
yeah.
other 20 people who are still here, again, thank you for everybody who chimed in for our thoughts. You can watch this back if you tuned in too late on our YouTube channel. It'll save after we end the stream. But if I just
Yeah.
want to go out on this note, I know we have a lot of fans here. I know we have a lot of stands here of the weekend, of any artist. Do not put anybody on a pedestal, is what I'm trying to say. These, again, they're a guy, not a god. They're a woman, not a god. Anything in between, they are not God. They are
Yep.
people who have a gift and have shared it, but that does not make them better than you. Does not make them better than me. And it's very unhealthy to grow an emotional attachment to someone who does not know you exist. It's a legitimate thing, and so many people are it's the same thing with celebrity culture. It's toxic, and it's something that creates delusions in your own mind and sets you up to be disappointed. So yeah, even if it's the weekend, I know we're the weekend podcast, but as you can see, we are critical of the weekend too. He has been under our fire as well, because again, no one is better than the next person. And for those who are grieving their once favorite artist, Frank Ocean, just know that we meet every Sunday at the Frank Ocean AA meeting, and you have a safe space there to air out everything you're feeling. But yeah, thanks for rocking with us. Those were our thoughts on the Frank Ocean situation. We will be staying vigilantly on Twitter to see what Coachella says next about what could happen with Weekend 2. and we'll take it from there. But yeah, thanks y'all.
Yeah. Thanks for coming through. See you next week.
Yes, sir. Follow us on Playback and on Twitter.
Yep.
And we will see you next week. Peace out, y'all.
Only beats.